flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. We have minutes to approve. From the December 2nd meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for 12/2.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Then we have payroll, two of them, of course. One, the amount of $252,736.84. And the second one for Union Hospital Security, in the amount of $2,636.96.
I make a motion to acknowledge the receipt of payroll. Oh, no, that's payroll itself. Approve the payroll of $252,736.84 with the Union Hospital, $2,636.96.
Oh, thanks.
I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Sorry, it's gonna mess with the other. All right, then we have to approve accounts payable in the amount of $190,734.25. That's acknowledging receipts of the amount of payroll claims
I
accounts
make
payable.
a motion to acknowledge the receipts of payroll claims as presented.
I will second that.
$16 today?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we have claims?
No.
No claims, okay. All right, Judge Swain, I know what you're here for, but
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So we've had court offices and probation offices have some issues with the facilities at the courthouse, and I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of the situation. And there's maybe two or three things here, but the biggest thing is probably the windows, the wood around the windows, like the framing on the outside of the windows, is rotting and warping. Some windows are worse than others. The windows in the probation office, where Lexi and Rusty's office is now, is probably, not probably, it is the worst.
did Radall come look at those?
Do what?
Radall, did he come look at those? Because Don sent him to look at those this week.
If he did, I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
I mean, it's possible, nobody told me, but.
Those windows the judge is talking about were replaced with the renovation before me, so back in 2000 or so, I suppose, when it was done. And so it's not the windows that are going bad, it's the frames around the windows are going bad.
Right, yeah.
That's going to need to be probably from the outside, pull the windows out, replace the frames and put it back in.
Yeah, the one facing the west towards Market Street is leaking pretty significantly, I think, and it probably requires some pretty immediate,
Okay.
because when you're letting in moisture like that.
Yeah, that needs to be, and that's, I think Don's plan was for Radolph to, if nothing else, caulk all of those things till spring comes, and then we begin to replace. Not much weight, we take the ones out and replace them, so.
The sooner the better. And actually, the one window behind Lexi's office, or her chair, I should say, is got a gap to where you can actually see outside. Now, Jason McCorg has put a piece of wood across it, so there's not a constant breeze on her all the time.
Yeah.
But that's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And there's a spot in my office on one of the windows where you can see outside. So, the breeze can come through there.
No, that's crazy. Those will all get caulked up at the minimum.
Well,
And then we'll need to replace all that.
It will have to be replaced.
Yeah.
It's too big for caulking.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about permanent, I'm talking about
Right.
for the wintertime, yep.
So kind of related to that is heating and air conditioning issues. I've always wondered whether their calibration between the computer that Don has downstairs controlling temperature is properly calibrated to the sensors that are apparently in our offices.
We talked about that last week, and the company that runs those is coming in to check with you, and I talked about this. It may be 64 degrees up in the judge's chambers in the area up there, but Don says, no, it's not. He looked on his computer and it says it's 74 degrees. Well, it's not 74 degrees, it's 64 degrees, but somewhere in that software, that sensor's not getting the right information down there.
I don't know, it doesn't have any rhyme or reason. Like if I say down my office is 64, he'll do something to raise the temperature. And then my office will be great, maybe be 71, 72, and then the courtroom will go up to 78. Or what, I mean, just weird things like that.
Yeah, that's all we need to find out.
My probation's office last week was 63-ish all week. But today, of course it's warmer today,
Yeah.
but today it's, what it should be.
I know he has contacted them to come see what the deal is on those.
So this, I guess I wanted to find out what the chiller, I thought Don had said the chiller was going to be
April.
replaced in
Spring.
November. but
April.
It's April. But we're sure it's going to be April.
Oh, no.
Okay.
We got a contract, so they say they're gonna come. They may
Okay.
say, nope, we're not coming.
It got really hot there for a little bit,
Yeah.
especially towards the end of the summer. And I know Don said it was doing all they could, and he had to actually, I think Kay had to manually restart it a couple of times, but.
Several times.
um,
So that's supposed to be changed in April. So that's what the contract says anyway.
Fantastic. But those are, I sent you an email that has kind of a more detailed outline of.
Yeah, I'll come look at those too.
issues.
John has seen those. Jeff Norman, I think, had looked at them too, but Jeff was not health-wise able to do. So Ray Dahl, sure, think of his last name in a minute. Omenson, yeah. Is doing the work now, and so I'll talk to him and see what he's seen. But we need to get those plugged for now. I mean, it's crazy to have those holes, air coming in, so that we take up for now. But the understanding is that's not a fix. That's just to block the air for now. And then I suspect if we're going to replace those, we're going to, and then both sides, we're going to replace all of them. That's going to be a pricey job.
Sounds like if,
I think that the clerk's office has mentioned they feel air coming through their
Yeah.
windows too. So, but they don't look as bad from the outside as the ones facing the south and the west.
Wasn't that 2020 when those were done? I mean, 2000 when it was done?
Yeah.
Because I was like in '02, and they had already gone through that stuff about the windows.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, earlier, I was before me, I was 2002.
Late
so-
90s, early 2000s.
So it's time. I mean, it's 30 years now, 25 years now, so we'll get that taken care of.
Okay, electrical issues too. I guess you brought this up too, that somebody apparently is coming to look at the electrical issues in the probation department.
We're gonna run two, instead of one circuit, you need at least one more circuit in there. So we will run it from the office up to the roof, to the ceiling. And we can go from the ceiling up to the boxes. The boxes are up by the elevator on the attic floor. So instead of just one, we're gonna run two circuits in there so we have more. I mean, it's just gonna get more and more electrical all the time. So that place wasn't built ever for all the electrical outlets that we need. So we'll just add as we go. So we'll add two there and then we'll see what the scope is as we go on.
Rusty had mentioned too, there's sometimes a humming noise that will be extremely loud in their office. It will be gone for months and then suddenly come on for a couple of weeks, so.
You might ask him to let me know when it's doing
Okay.
it, and I'll come and try to come see what it is, or Don can if he's there, and we'll see what it is. Boy, those
But, yeah, so.
phantom noises are tough to track sometimes.
Right. Yeah, the HVAC is just, there's no rhyme or reason
No,
sometimes.
that's
to
just
the
sensors,
temperature
that's just
changes.
controls. The system works fine. I mean, it works when it's working, but it's being told not
Right,
working.
and that's
what
why
the problem
something
is.
with, I don't know if it's the programming or
Yeah.
sensors or what, but something's not right.
Nope, they can fix that.
All right, so you'll keep me posted then on your progress or what's happening?
Well, we'll just get at it if we get a date. I know that radar will be there to plug those holes, so we'll get that taken care of, and then immediately, and then start making plans for bids for the project.
Okay.
See, and we'll probably have to have them all looked at, probably have to end up replacing all of them, I suspect. Now it's time.
All right, well, thank you guys.
Yes, sir, sorry for the cold.
Thanks, Judge.
All right. Good night.
George Smith. How are you?
Doing great, you?
I'm doing good. Oh, sorry, Dan. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, did you get everything?
I'm guessing it's not gonna be cheaper this year than it was last year. Wow,
It's kind of what I thought.
it is. Wait a minute, that
It's
never
kind of an
happened.
early Christmas present.
No kidding, gee.
One of them anyway.
Yeah. Obviously, don't have to tell you guys, we all have homeowners and insurance and stuff like that from a personal standpoint. And the state of Indiana's averaging 24% rate increases, and that's just across the board. So when I got the county's renewal, I was pretty darn excited. Had a pretty decent year. I think Bliss, unless anybody has any feedback, has done a heck of a job on your claims. And I've really appreciated that. Risk management, the departments have been great to meet with.
Good.
And we'll continue to offer those programs to you. Basically, I really did summarize it. Auto owners, which are the building coverages and also contents coverages. This year, it actually came in at a $118 decrease. In the packet on the very back, and I mentioned the other day, with auto owners, it's a little different than what we've done in the past, so I'm guessing you've already received the renewal billing. Because,
Do you remember, I don't think so, not yet.
not yet, okay. It will come automatically. Each year it will just renew till I tell them not to.
Okay,
So in your packet on the very, I think I put it on the last portion.
you did. Now, this says 99,632, but this says 10,860, I mean, 110,000.
So if you flip the page,
Oh, okay.
there's a paid in full discount there.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha. That's if we don't pay it in full right off the bat.
That's right.
Do we typically do that?
Yeah.
Pay in full? Okay.
so it's, the paid in full, obviously, it's a significant discount.
$10,000, yeah.
And, the other thing, I know we do break out the billings, so, I won't be able to break out the billing that comes from auto owners, but let me know, and I have the breakdown, so that the percentages, the way they go, and to help you out, and I can get that figured out, how we need to do that.
With auto owners, then, if we would, and you don't need to keep me updated or us updated on that at all, but if you get some numbers from Mr. Claiborne, Derek, about what is covered where and what it would take to move those over.
Yep.
So we know what amount of money that they anticipate spending on insurance. They won't have to be spending on insurance.
Sure.
We'll get it on this side, so we'll at least have some number to work with, because they're looking at now increasing what we pay the fair board to cover those costs, but we won't have to pay that increase to cover those costs if we're gonna cover them here, so.
Sure.
That's why we kinda need to know that, so.
Yeah, and we haven't made I haven't made it real far on that yet, because once I get the green light to, hey, we need to add those buildings, or we'd like to see what's gonna cost, I'll go out to measure all of them anyway and do my stuff, and I haven't been requested to do that yet.
Well, do you want a request to do that? Because that's what we intend to do. I mean, we intend to
If that's
bring it
your
on.
intentions,
It is. Is
next
that-
decent
is that what I
day when I'm
understand it?
free, I'll get out and measure everything.
That's what
so-
we're looking to do.
We're gonna pay for it one way or the other.
Okay.
It just makes sense to have them under the county umbrella because they are county buildings, and I think that
Absolutely.
reaffirms also that that is county property, it is county buildings, so I think it reaffirms that if it's on our policy.
Okay.
Instead of having the fair board have their own setup out there. It's confusing for them as to who has what over what, so
Yep.
I think if it's all under our umbrella, that'd be great.
Okay.
So I'd say, yeah, if you go ahead and do that and make us an offer, and then we can see where that is compared to where they already are, and then what we have to do to move them over.
Right. Okay. I'll get on it then.
Appreciate it, George.
All right. The liability, with Bliss McKnight, you've got the liability, the autos, things like that covered under Bliss McKnight. Inland Marine is under Bliss McKnight, which is gonna be your equipment. You know, they came in, overall, they came in at a 5.89% rate increase. Like I said, the total package came in at a 5.2% rate increase, which I kind of want to frame it.
In a scary inflation scenario as it is, I'm just amazed that's where it is.
Yeah. And it's, and the big thing, Bliss McKnight, what they do, they use your payroll, the payroll audits. Thanks again for sending that to me. They use your payroll audits from work comp to base the liability class. So obviously certain things, whether it be law enforcement, highway, different departments, as the payroll goes up, the cost of your liability will go up with them.
You guys have any questions on this?
Nope.
Well, the only other thing, I'm just kind of looking through real quick, but there's a lot here to try to, didn't we talked about during the year sometime with the
Internet?
internet thing, is it a part of
It's not a
Bliss,
part
or
of
is
that
it
because it's going
it's
to
a
have a
separate-
totally
okay.
separate
All right.
date. And I'm horrible on dates anymore, but I'm thinking we did
But it'll
that
be a
in
year
September
whenever,
or
okay.
July
Yeah,
or something.
it was over the summer or something.
Yeah, you got it set up. We have it now. We have the
Okay.
insurance
You-
now.
You do have it now, yes.
Just different.
The
renewal date.
ransomware insurance?
Yes.
Cyber?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the $2 million limit.
Yes.
Yeah,
So we're covered. It's just a different renewal date on that.
that's
Not a
right.
problem.
Is there a way to bring those into the same, way to prorate those, bring them in the same renewal date?
It's a separate
Different
company.
Yeah, okay. That's not a problem. I'm just
Yeah, it's
curious.
not a problem, just as long as we got it, because we
Yes.
talked about it.
Yeah, we
knew
did.
We
Yeah, George got right on
had
it.
done it, and I thought you
George-
said you were gonna
George
do
was
it.
kind of slow, but George did okay. How many years have you been
He
with us
does
now,
all
George?
right.
It will be, good grief.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, next year will be my 22nd year.
Great. Well, you've done well. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Every time I've called with a question, if you didn't know, you find out and you call me back, and I appreciate that. Don't expect you to know everything, but I know you're capable and able and have people in places who can find those answers for us, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Is there a motion to approve this, guys?
Yeah, I make a motion, we approve the auto owners and Bliss McKnight with George and MJS.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Right,
Okay. You got stuff to sign, I bet.
I just have one page on this one,
Okay.
the terrorism one.
and I will make sure to send you the signed copy.
And I am the insured or official, which am I?
I'll take care of the named insurer because they'll be Parke County BOC.
Okay, so I did that here, okay. Okay.
All right, thank you. And I'll get with you tomorrow in an email and send over the breakdowns and everything.
Great.
So we'll get all that done.
And if Derek gets back with you, and you get an idea on those numbers, what those buildings cost to them now, I'd like to know what that number is, or close to a ballpark figure.
Absolutely. That'll be pretty close because there'll be exact numbers because I will send that over to underwriting to get.
Roy told me today and asked if I knew what that number was, because they're in the process of deciding what it is they're gonna pay, or put in their pot out there to use, and they won't need that extra if we're gonna bring that here, so just let us know.
All right, but thanks again.
Thank you, George, appreciate
Thanks,
it.
George.
Okay, Chester, why don't you come on up, let's get your business taken care of here, and the rest of it's pretty mundane stuff.
So we're looking at that right next to the Lord.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm here for about the dozenth time about closing that alley. Just my stretch, I don't care about the rest. I don't care if that fence gets moved or not, must not be a problem for the Cousins. You know, you look at it, that piece of property it's hooked to has been in Kathy Cullum's grandmother's for years. Then Dan and Kathy either purchased or inherited, I don't know which. You can see where the fence has been moved 20 feet to the north. That put it in the road. Nobody knew the road was open. I didn't know it. You know, I would probably had a different look at stuff. You know, I felt I've been wrong by having to be the only person in the county to spend $500 to close an alley. But all I'm asked for is my section. I went to the Cousins, and I went back to Matt and talked to Matt and told him what I'd done. You know, Matt didn't know that he was on the county road when he bought the property. You know, am I gonna go over there and raise hell with him? No. All I want is my section. And once that road is, or the fence is wherever it goes, you still have to build a bridge to get across. So the alley should end right at that road, at the whole alley. So I'm asking for the last time to close it.
Okay. So we'll take it under consideration. We'll get with Nick and see what processes have to be done to start. How's that all going to work, Nick? How does that work? If that's a feasible thing to do, if looks like that's feasible.
Well, if you guys decide to do that, I think he has an attorney he's working with. They'd submit documents to us on that vacation alleyway, which I think they already had prepared,
Okay.
and they'd tender a proposed order for us to review. That's the process we tend to go through.
Didn't you get all that from my attorney?
He didn't give it to me. He has it though.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can
email it
contact
to me if
him.
he
Will
wants
that
to.
adversely affect Matt?
I don't think he had
It
it set
wouldn't,
up
but
to stop at a certain
That's
spot.
between him and Matthew, it's not between me.
Oh, I know. I'm just asking if that. So Matt
And
may have to prove
I
that.
do know when it comes to where that fence is. The fence is on the north side of Parke County Road. The creek goes through the road. His fence is on the north edge of the road,
Okay.
the county road. It's full of trees. And no one ever knew it because I know Matthew spent $3,500 getting the road and the alley surveyed. The only reason Matthew wanted that alley opened was so he could maintain his fence. He has agreed, there is no livestock in there now, he has agreed to move the fence back off of the alley, or off of the road, the county road, which will be 20-some feet probably to the south. Does
Yeah,
that sound right?
pretty close.
Okay. Once he moves that off, it winds, the creek winds pretty well. The county road goes pretty well through the creek.
Okay.
And from what I understood you guys' conversation that day, he would have been in agreement with closing the whole alley between Webster Street that goes between Chester's two properties and between Brower's two properties, if they would sell him the part of the road so he wouldn't have to build his fence through the creek.
And I approached them about that.
Because if they don't and he moves his fence 20 feet, it's right on the bank of the creek.
And
And he has no way to maintain
And
it.
I also agreed to give him access. All I want is my section. When I hired the attorney, he said, let's close it all. Well, he had never looked at anything.
Right.
I could care less. You know, let him deal with them. You know, I've tried to negotiate between the Browers and Matt. You know, I'd do anything for either one.
So the Broward's opposed to it or just not doing anything about it?
You know, it's like, they're just not doing anything.
Can it be done what he's asking to, will it cause any problems?
Well, here's the whole thing. If he moves his fence 20 feet, he's on the creek bank.
Mm-hmm.
He has no way to get over there he's not wanting to build a bridge across the creek. He
I know he's
just
not.
wanting to maintain his fence.
He just wanted to maintain his fence.
Okay.
But I can't make the Browers do what he wants done.
He's not saying that, but if you close this, if Chester sells it, the next person won't let him cross, which Matthew has no problem crossing Chester. He can legally cross all of them to maintain the fence once he moves
Okay.
for his livestock. But him and Chester get along, and as
Yeah.
long as Chester allows him to cross that.
I can
it's
include
not-
that with the property, right? That is a
Well,
permanent
Chester
egress?
could give him
I could sign a
They runs with the
100-year
land.
easement.
But
And I'll last
will
them.
that get him to the fence without the other neighbors?
No,
though?
no, he still has to cross the other neighbor, and
So-
that's why Matthew told him, he said, if you go to the county, have the alley totally closed across both property owners, have the road closed, Matthew said, all I'm asking you is will you sell me your half of the road so I don't have to use the alley and I don't have to put my fence on the creek bank.
And
then
who would he
they'll
be
have-
buying that half a road from?
It would
Broward?
probably be the Browers, but they won't give him an answer either way. So he has to have the alley to maintain the fence once he moves it 20
So Nick, how do we request that they take some action on this so we can get this problem solved.
Well, so if we're changing, his original request was to vacate the whole alley.
Yes.
So if he's changing that request, he needs to notify the other, like I get Matt knows it sounds like, but the other ones, so he needs to be able to prove the other ones know he's changed his request.
And it's within 400 feet.
And they get an opportunity to comment or object or whatever they want to
Now,
do.
do I send them a certified letter?
Yeah, that way you can prove they know.
And give them so many days?
I would just give him a date to come back here so they know to show up on that day because you're going to rule on it.
Can we agree or can we vacate that road contingent upon them selling their half of the road to Mac? Can we make that part of the arrangement? If they do that, then we'll close the road?
I mean, once you vacate the road, you don't have anything.
That's what I'm saying, but we
No,
make it-
it's really a.
But it's the other way around. We say if you do that, then we'll close the road.
Right.
Not the other way around. We're not going to.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not going to do anything to close your alley until they
Right.
give the easement or whatever they're going to give.
So we can kind of put that pressure on them, can't we?
Yeah, I mean,
If we agree that we're going to do this, but we're not going to do it until they agree to.
Well, that gives Chester what he needs to know.
That's
That he
all
needs
I
to go
wanna
talk
know.
to those neighbors and
Yes.
get them on board
Yeah.
to do what they need to do.
I mean, the road, it's not been a road probably ever. It's just on the books.
But if you, so the standing that people have is anybody that is affected adversely by
Right.
vacating the alley
Right.
has a right to object to it.
Right.
And if they object to it, then the problem you have as a board is you have to say that Chester's interest outweighs their interest in objecting
Okay.
to it. And if they have a reasonable reason they're objecting, like they need to maintain their
Right.
property,
Right.
that's a hard standard to meet.
Right,
But
sure
if
would be.
if they have it cured by the agreement otherwise, that everybody's given Matt an easement to
Okay, now
access his fence.
Chester owns both sides of the alley here, so that won't impact them
And
at
so
all.
did Browers.
And Browers on both sides here, so we really just need
Okay,
an
yeah,
agreement
hold
from
that,
Browers.
Michelle. This is school road. If Matthew owns that road and puts the fence where it is right now, he can build the road into here and maintain his fence till he gets to the
Right.
creek bank. Then he has to walk it. No matter what, he has to walk that. So right here's that box culvert that was put in a few years ago right south of the school. And that road actually comes out right on that box culvert.
So I mean, they're going to have to convey something to Matt
Yes.
to make it so he can maintain his fence.
Once all
line.
three parties agree, I know
Right.
Matthew don't have a problem with it, and I know he knows Chester will let him go across it, but he still has issues with here.
So Chester, I guess, and that's kind of been this argument the whole time, we just need you three to have an agreement that this is how this is gonna work. And I know you can't get them to respond to you, so.
Well, the thing of it is I could have been notified in a different way than a note from an attorney to move it. I was in the alley. Didn't really appreciate that.
I understand, but that's down the river now.
but,
We gotta
you
move
know,
forward from here.
But we've known that he's been on the property line. It shows a little favoritism to me.
No, we haven't done any of that. You can think that, but that's okay, but that has not entered into my thoughts at all.
Well, I'm not gonna be able to get them to agree. I'm guaranteeing you.
Do you think they'll disagree, or the Browers just aren't gonna move on it?
I think they'll wanna buy the other side, just like he wants to buy the whole damn road. They'll wanna buy the whole road themselves.
Okay?
You know, it's just, I don't know why, I don't know how much room is between that fence where all them trees are. If you could put a gate down there by the road and drive along there with a mule or not, cut them trees.
Well, just understand, that's the stumbling block. We're not the stumbling block. That's the stumbling block. That's the only thing keeping us from giving you exactly what you want. It's not getting that agreement. And we can't make somebody agree to sell somebody some land. So that's where the problem is.
Well, neither party owns that land.
No, he said he'll move the fence,
Yeah.
but if he moves the fence
Then
to
he won't have
20
that.
feet, then he has to use the alley to get to it, because it's on the creek bank. We have
Definitely gonna be, I got no problem with,
The pins is there.
as long as I send them a letter and they say, yeah, we don't we wanna close the alley, but they don't wanna close the alley.
But
I
if-
wanna close it.
But if we close the alley, just like you could give Matthew an ongoing in perpetuity agreement that he'll always have, and it's bearing upon the future owners as well, because I did it with my property. That it goes with it. They'll always have access, but we can't make them do that. And it won't do him any good to have access across your property if he can't get across their property to get to his road. And so that's where that's where the problem lies. We can't make them do that. And it won't do us any good to close your part and vacate that. I mean, that's something we could do.
Maybe we need a neutral person to talk to him.
What? Maybe your attorney could talk to him?
No, my attorney, he's a laid back old dude and is good, but no. We need somebody in a neutral situation that
Well, that's not,
has no.
that's not really something we can do or the county can do, because we can't come in onto one person's side to argue a case to try to get this agreement done.
Yeah, I know that.
We can't do that either, so. Nick, who does they talk to for that kind of thing? Who does that kind of thing?
There's an arbitration somewhere. I used to arbitrate $1 million claims where people allegedly got hurt.
I mean, the three parties could go to a mediator. There's no grounds to force them to arbitrate. Arbitrate means that the decision of the arbitrator is binding on them,
Right.
Yeah.
regardless of what
But
their
they're
thoughts are.
mediated, though.
But the Indiana law doesn't allow for arbitration on property interests.
Okay.
But if the three parties wanted to try to work something out, they could go to a mediator, which would be an attorney that the three of them would go in front of. They'd all talk. They'd be in a room. The mediator would try to work things through with them.
Who sets that kind of meeting up?
The three of them would have to be willing to do it.
So Chester,
It
who
sounds like you
gets the
have
rings
2
then?
out of 3 willing to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
You know, I got no problem. I'm the only one's got skin in the game.
Well, it's not like Matthew's willing to.
I think he is, but I don't know if he reached out to him like I did. I went over to their house. I went over to their house and talked to them.
the
And
problem
that-
is
I was
Chester
waiting.
and Matthew don't have any way to force these
No.
people to do anything.
And-
No.
It's like the county doesn't have any way to force them. So if they don't
Right.
want to do it,
Right, and they have no reason to do it. It's not a problem for them.
right.
No. You're
Which
like,
other than Matthew has the right to drive across between
Yes.
the two pieces of property.
Right. To access
And
his
they
land.
park cars on it all during the Bridge Festival.
but he's not gonna be over there usually during
He
the
is
Bread
not,
Festival.
But what
No.
I'm saying is Matthew is gonna have to approach him with, if you wanna continue using that, otherwise I have to use it when I do have to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've tried to.
Right
cut
now,
him
the
off
public
before.
at large could drive down.
Yes,
the alley,
anybody
so.
can.
And that should be part of that meeting to
Right.
explain that, we
Right.
could do this.
We had a case like this. It was city of Cayuga, I think, or Perrysville, one of the two. We represented the landowner. My firm did, and there's actually a case law that addresses specifically that you can't adversely possess or prescriptively possess governmental property. And we argued the case. We tried the case. It got appealed. The appellate court even upheld it that the town owned it because the town owns it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So I mean that's the case law, and it is used against us in our trial. So
And I have no skin in the game either.
Our
I gave
county,
the property
in this
away
instance.
10 years ago.
We had a
So-
similar thing, Chester, just so you know, we had a similar thing, actually must be 5 or 6 years ago now, in Numa. Numa is used to be a little town just south of Lyford, right off of 41, go past the railroad, on the railroad trestle, it's back in there. A family owned property there, and they wanted to build a garage. And that garage would have been on an old, unused alley that was in the plat, and the neighbor didn't want them to have a garage there, so the neighbor refused to agree to allow them to vacate that property. So as badly as they wanted to build that garage, it didn't happen because the neighbor didn't want to do it. That's the toughest thing for us to deal with, our neighbors fighting over stuff or arguing over stuff because they don't have to agree. We can't make them agree. We can't make them agree to sell you that property or to go along with that.
right, and if his access were cured as to his property, then he wouldn't have that great argument as to why he doesn't want the alley closed.
Right.
But with it the way it is,
Doesn't impact
I mean that's something. I mean, because Dana would have to abstain anyway. It'd be something you and Bruce would
Right.
have to weigh as far
Right.
as weighing interests in the alleyway.
So what I hear you saying, but Chester knows this already, as we do, you're saying they just need to have a meeting and nothing we can do until they come to some agreement.
So I mean, it's kind
They need to, you know?
Yes, they do.
Right.
They need
Yes.
to.
It's a three-way dance, and Chester's just, unfortunately, the party that's not, getting the resolution
Yep.
because the other two parties aren't talking
Yep.
to each other.
Yep.
So
You know, the worst thing to do is go into a meeting with a negative attitude. You gotta go into a meeting with a positive attitude that you're gonna achieve the goal you set. And I went into that with both cases, with Matt and them. I got what I wanted from Matt. All I got was a nod from the other ones.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing I can do about it.
Well, I just hope you understand nothing we can do about it until you do get that accomplished. Our hands are tied. We can't make somebody sell their property. We can't make them agree to what you want done. And we can't do what you want done until they agree.
Well, I'll meditate on this a little longer and we'll see what I have to do.
Okay. All right, now we have some commitments here to make on ARPA money for the end of the year. I understand these have to be, as Susan and Bruce both know, and I got a confirmation from the state that they sent out to Roy. Just having a commitment is not enough, it's gotta be contractual. We have to have a contract signed for these things, so that's where we are. So the first one is the, doing the digitizing of all the
Minutes.
codes and the minutes and stuff, yes. So do we have contract ready for that?
We have proposals.
Okay, so if I'm correct, Nick, we have a proposal from someone, we can, at this point, since we have to have a contract for that, we can agree in our minutes that we're gonna agree with that and sign that as a contract?
And then get the contract.
Pending review of the contract.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. The first amount would be $6,900, and that would be for the online hosting,
okay,
the live stream. We can maintain minutes, everything
Okay.
on the same area.
okay.
Public can access it.
Who that's with. So,
It's-
and make it all searchable that way
Yeah,
too, and that's all
and
we
it's
want.
through Civic Plus,
Okay,
and you can see that they're giving us a discount. So the first initial payment would be $6,900, and then renewable would be the
8,200 a year,
Right.
and after that. And this is Civic Plus.
Yes.
Do you guys have any questions?
Have you seen it?
I'd seen that, but not, like,
the actual
we'd want to see the
contract,
actual
yes.
contract.
I would make the motion then that we agree to this proposal and accept this proposal, and our attorney will have to approve the contract before we can sign the contract. But as far as we're concerned, however you need to word this in the minutes, so we can show that it's under contract, that we are willing to contractually obligate ourselves once the attorney approves the contract. Is that okay with you?
And if they just want to email the contract to me,
No,
that's fine.
We'll have that done tomorrow, hopefully.
Right.
So, was there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And then the second portion of it is the codification
Okay.
of the codes.
Okay. All right.
That's the 89.50.
Yeah.
Yes. Just a one-time payment on that. And then the renewable is $24.95.
Recodification.
Any questions?
Nope.
Motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve and accept the proposal from
Civic Plus?
Civic Plus for the recodification part of their project at one-time payment of $8,950, and then renewable from that point of $2,495.
We could word that in a similar way, that we've approved that, and it is our consensus that we are contractually obligated to that, but we will sign the contract once the attorney reviews and approves.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
All right,
Okay?
Hey, Jim, so I know you're gonna go through the highway material bids. I went through those. Susan gave them to me.
Okay.
And I left notes on the ones that there needed to be brought up, so.
Okay.
But I gotta run, so.
I don't see him though.
Okay. Well, it's on the agenda, it's the only thing I noticed. But there were two, one you already had, it's just a renewable contract for services, and there's an exception in the code for it. The other one didn't have a bond, and I marked it.
Yeah, that, Bruce thought there wasn't a bond with the,
Yeah.
or Dan one, that wasn't a check with the
Yeah,
first.
There were
Check
two
or
that
a
didn't have a
bond.
bond, but one of them, one didn't have a check or a bond, and it wasn't an existing contract.
Yeah.
At
So what do we
least
do with that? Is that not
You
acceptable?
can't accept it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that all we have to do while you're here?
I left a sticky note on it, so
Yeah. Okay.
when I reviewed it and brought it back over. So it's just, it doesn't meet our requirements. In our requirements, we specifically
Okay.
said you
That's
have
right,
to
yeah,
have it,
yeah.
a check or a bond.
So do you know what those two are? We can get it in a minute.
I don't remember the names of them.
Okay.
I put a note on them when I
Okay.
gave them back to Susan.
Okay, yeah, as long as we know that they weren't acceptable.
The other one, there's an exception built in where if you're renewing a contract instead,
Okay.
it doesn't require that. So it's really on you guys on whether you guys want them, because you did say when you
I'm okay
advertised,
with
but,
that, yeah.
okay.
Oh, I'm okay with that,
No,
you guys
you
are.
have
What
to.
he's saying is we don't have to rebond it again because they're already under contract.
You're
with
renewing
someone.
what you did,
just
yes.
renew, right?
Yeah.
But
Sounds like
so
we're
those
okay
were the
with
two
that.
I saw, but
Okay.
And I actually even put the code in there on the renewal part because they cited it too in their bid, but I actually pulled it, so it's in the packet for
Okay.
them.
Thanks, sir.
All right. If you guys need anything, text me though.
I will.
All right, see you guys.
All right, next up is this ongoing thing with the art money. One of the original things we did with the $3 million that we got from the federal and the state for the American Rescue Plan Act was to do all we could to enhance the existence and access of broadband in the county. At that time, we had 4 entities that were pursuing, AT&T, Bloomingdale, Endeavor, and Joint. And Joint has not turned in their invoice, but we were aware of what that would be. They were getting paid so much per address. The council decided they were fine with that, but the council, even though they are committing the money, the art money, they are going to pay it not up front. They're going to pay it as they turn on those accesses to those addresses. So the total amount owed, and we knew that number coming in, was $936,000 for the work that Joint has done, and so we just need to
That is providing they do give access to
Yes.
100% of what they
yes,
agreed to.
yes,
So they will be paid as
they do it.
And if there's some they don't do, then
Then they
they
will
Right.
get paid.
Okay.
Right.
Yep, I'm with you.
So that'd be my motion, and that we approve the payment to Joint at $936,000 for the commitment resolution, and that will be, the payments will be made and controlled by the county council.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Then the third thing we have on the ARPA funds today is we directed the Plan Commission to redo our comprehensive plan. It's old and outdated, and that request came in, and Beth Martin has been working on getting numbers for us from people who do that. I think the last one we did was like 15 years ago, so it's been a long time. And Cindy Taub is running into difficulties in seeking grants since we didn't have a current and up-to-date comprehensive plan, so it's one of those things you have to do. So that's what we are. What was the number on that?
70,
70,000.
7,500?
70,000.
70,000.
Around that 70, yeah.
70,000 even?
Yeah.
70,000,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't, you had negotiated down, it was originally 75,000,
It
correct?
originally was 96.5.
Yes, you did good. Okay.
Thank you.
Did they give you a start date?
I discussed with the project manager today, we're going to wait until after the holidays are
Okay.
over, and I'll schedule a kickoff meeting,
Okay.
probably the first week in January or the second week in January.
Okay, great.
And they're aware of that.
Okay,
There's copies of the contract in everybody's packet,
okay,
and Nick has approved it.
okay. Then I would make a motion then that we enter into a contract with HWC Engineering for the comprehensive plan work. The contract has been reviewed by the attorney and approved by the attorney, in the amount of $70,000.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, you're on go.
Thank you.
There's a spot, I think, for all 3 of
Yeah.
us to sign on that.
It's all 3 of us.
Yeah.
Oh, we've already been told about the tort claim already, and then the highway bids, I might make note.
I messed up on that. Those come January 6th for the awarding of the bids.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
This-
jumped the gun.
Okay, this one's not so much for the awarding, but let's go and get it in minutes anyway. Our attorney made us aware that one of the bids that were turned in did not meet the requirements. There was no check and no bond included. The other one, there was no check with the bond, but we didn't require that since it is an already existing contract and just a renewal. And then when we get those in January, then we won't include that one. Okay. Out-of-cycle checks, what this is the business recovery program through Cindy's office. businesses could apply, and that recovery was through the COVID time. They could get up to $1,000 by applying for their grants. And so we have a request here for out-of-cycle checks. And rather than us naming all of these, I'll read them real quickly, but I would expect the note keeper to keep track of all of these. They're all $1,000 for Hurricane Hill, Napa, Britton Winery, Rusted Root, Brother Bear Construction, the Clay Plant, Urban Farm Check, Tom Pointer, and then off-duty flagpoles was $762.37. You can just copy these down in your minutes, however you want to do that. You don't have to take all those now. And Taylor Minette, $210. West Central Solid District, $20,190. Oh, that's different stuff.
Yeah.
So those are all for that out of cycle. So I'd make a motion we approve those out of cycle checks.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we have a bit out of cycle check for West Central Solid Waste District. And every year we pay, and that's what the recycling bins are. We are members of West Central Solid Waste District, and those are the ones who do not just the recycling bins, but they do the tox away days, and they do very, very well for us. So that $20,195 is the cost for this coming year.
And if that's your motion, I'll second that.
Okay.
Did we actually skip the first one?
Yes, we did. I'll come
Because you
back up
started
to
to
it.
put it back
I did.
into
I did. So move second to pay West Central $21.95. All in favor, say aye.
the. Aye.
Then the Taylor Minette, what is that for? The 2 and 10?
That is legal fees. He assisted Mary Ann with the State Board of
Oh.
Accounts letter.
Okay. And then Sound Communications, $13,051.
That is for the 911.
Okay.
It is for their recording new logger for their system.
Okay. I'm assuming that money probably was put in place from a grant.
Yes.
Okay. Branson Insurance, $188,953. That would be the workman's comp.
Yeah, the renewal.
And Milestone Contractors is for the jobs that they did on the last community crossings, $1,322,452.45. Is there a motion to approve these as presented?
I make a motion, we approve these out-of-cycle checks as presented.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You
Right.
skipped over in digital for
Oh, yes, we did.
19,774.
What was that for?
That is for call handling equipment. It is the first payment for 911.
Okay. Again, that would come from a
Yeah.
grant then. So I'd make that motion and we approve individuals request of $19,774.26.
And I'll second it.
We have off-duty flagpoles. Was that part of the recovery program? That's the only one that wasn't $1,000. The one after we went down to $1,000 down to
Yeah, I
1,762?
have no idea
Must be
why.
the same, okay.
Yeah.
But it's the same group that was for
Yes,
that?
it was in the
Yeah,
same
okay,
group. It's
okay.
part
It's
of
different
that.
amount. Gotcha.
So now we're covered.
Yeah,
Yes. So all those out-of-cycle checks, I got you covered? Okay.
And we're broke.
and we're broke.
It's the end of the year.
Let me see here real quick, if I've got anything for us. I don't think we can do this week, I don't think. Let me see.
I did get Angie Mathis. She is with our plat office.
Oh, that's fine, she can,
Okay. Sorry, I failed to get you on the list.
Yeah, I think that's it.
you're up.
You're up, Angie.
Okay. Well, first of all, I was gonna ask if maybe I could get some part-time help. But Susie has let Stacy come down and help me on her, she's not busy right now with her
Gotcha.
TMLs, so
Gotcha.
she's been coming down and helping me with cards and
Great.
stuff like that. I wanted to ask permission to get a grant to scan the plat books.
Okay.
And mostly because I feel like that if we do that, the deeds are gonna come through
Oh, absolutely.
a lot better.
We're kicking and screaming our way into the new century, but we're getting
Right,
there.
right.
So all we really need to know, Because again, we don't approve these grants just because we think they're worthy or not worthy. We just have to make sure there's no conflict with any other entity.
Okay.
Who was the grant coming from?
Well, I haven't got the grant.
Oh, okay. Oh, absolutely.
I was just asking permission to go forward
Okay,
with it.
okay.
And then I do have a quote from the same people that Mary Alice got,
Mhm.
but I haven't looked over it yet. He just sent it to me
Okay.
like just a little bit ago today, so, but I do have one quote.
Okay.
And I will get the other one.
I don't think we need a motion. I don't think we need to approve that. And if you're just
There's not
process
any
looking.
particular grant you're looking at yet?
No,
Yeah.
Okay. No.
You just go for it.
What,
okay,
I know you can.
okay. I did get a quote, but I didn't get a grant yet.
Sure.
Well, I thought I'd see
What was the
about.
quote? Ballpark.
Yeah, it was like 28,000.
Okay.
to
You might
scan
well
all the
say.
books?
All of them,
That
yes.
actually surprised me. I figured it'd be more than that.
I think
There's
the
a lot there.
recorders was like 60,000 or more than that, I
Yes.
think, yeah.
They have a lot more books
Oh,
than
yes, they
we do
do.
though.
Yes, they do.
Were some of your books already scanned?
No, none.
Not
The only thing that Laura had scanned was the transfer books
The
that were
transfer
down in
books.
the auditor's office. But none of the actual plat books have been scanned with
Okay.
the maps and everything.
I know the recorder's books do. I'm assuming yours do too. Your books come apart so they can just go
Yes.
page by page and scan those, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Anybody else that we, oh, you got it.
Lisa,
Oh,
yeah,
Sheriff too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jason. First, I wanted to let you guys know that we are planning to do the Dine on a Covered Bridge experience twice again next year.
Okay.
We did our first one last year as the brunch at Mecca, and there was something brought to our attention about possible structural issue with the Mecca Bridge right now. Or there was a question about it, so we wanted to discuss with you before we
Are
actually
you aware of any problem?
booked that bridge.
If you remember right, when the boys put siding on that, there was a post and the north, I gotta stop and think about this. The northwest corner had some damage to it. Randy was aware of it.
Okay.
I know. And I don't know, as far as I know, nothing's been done with
Okay.
it. But, yeah, as far as I know, it's not been inspected either, correct?
I can't tell you that.
That was, are they even inspecting the bridges that are bypassed? Is that part of the inspection? Any of the bypass bridges?
I don't believe they inspect bridges that are out of use, but I can confirm with Joe Clark.
Okay, would you
Yeah, or I can
please?
send Joe a text or something,
Yeah.
but
And they need to be, so if we need to pay for that extra, I would think they need to be by
Yeah.
somebody, so we have some proof that there's somebody
yeah,
inspecting, they
what
were
it
okay.
boils down to, you don't know if there's 600 people gonna show up or whatever, and when you run the numbers, you can actually put more weight on there with people than you will traffic.
Vehicle.
Yes, so you want to know if he's inspecting the covered bridges that are bypassed?
Right.
Okay,
And if not, can we, and what would that cost?
okay.
Because I would like to have that certification showing that they were inspected and they were in good shape. So if there was a problem with the bridge
Yeah,
sometime,
absolutely.
it would be nothing old, it'd be something new that just occurred.
Yes, and
Absolutely.
we wouldn't want a bunch of people on there. And
Yeah, that event's our
Have something.
smaller one, so we have about 100 people, maybe like 110 with our crew that comes in.
Yeah.
How spaced out are they? Because what happens is you put too much weight in the
Yeah.
panel.
Down the
But
center.
you're too
It's
close.
down the entire bridge, it's
Yeah,
not just in
yeah.
a section, so.
But we would like to have some kind of, I know the bridge companies do it because
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
a
Joe
lot of
will do
these
it.
that they're rehabbing for this very same thing, they'll actually post a sign on them, the number of people that they will safely hold.
Do you know what number they use now per person, weight-wise, average? 175 or so? I've heard that, seen someplace. Used to be 150, but we're all bigger than that now. I'm thinking 175. So you got 100 people, that's 17. You got 200 people, that's 35,000 pounds. You're talking 17 tons here, and some of the bridges aren't rated for 17 tons.
Right. I do know we do inspections on pedestrian bridges in Lafayette. So I
Okay,
know
that
that we
would work.
do.
Yeah,
those.
that category would work on that then.
Yeah.
probably.
Actually, the one we're currently doing right now in Fishers, the one with the glass sides, I think it has 1,000 person limit on it.
1,000 person?
Yeah, 1,000 people. The county wanted 2,000 people, but I think it has 1,000 on it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
It's
175,000
it's
pounds.
2.5 loaded semis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Get 9,000 pounds of semi, yeah. My gosh.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to circle back to you on that before we
I don't
confirm,
think-
or do you see an issue with us?
I'd say go ahead and make plans.
Okay.
If it comes in late, last minute that it can't be done, then it just can't be done, and then you may have to move to another bridge or something, but
And if I get a chance, I will go over and
Okay.
I'm not gonna give you the okay, but I'll lay
Right.
my eyes on it and make sure nothing
I
else
just,
has
we wanna go ahead and get our
changed.
calendar in place, because the dates are chosen, so we wanna get, you know, our
Locations.
reservation location in and,
I don't really need to know the dates, but if you're talking about two different occasions, I can go ahead and make the motion then that we give PCI permission to use 2 of our covered bridges, our bypass covered bridges for a dining on a bridge.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
If you would, just have Joe to send me a text.
Okay.
And let us know what other bridge you're looking at so we can see, get it inspected
the
too.
Bridgeton. The
Oh, Bridgeton,
second
okay.
event will remain in Bridgeton as long as we
Okay.
can.
Okay.
And that's the August event.
Okay.
The May event would be Mecca.
We need certification for any of those that haven't, so we
He
need.
did respond, and they do not currently inspect the
Inspect,
bypass
okay.
bridges.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell them we need to, and
Okay.
I need a really good job at a really cheap price, okay? Make sure,
No.
just let him know that, right?
And then May.
Okay, I have another matter really quick.
Okay.
I usually follow up with you guys after festival with just like a PCI report of how things went. Thank you again for the use of the courthouse area and the support that you give us during the festival. We heard nothing but good things from what we were doing on our end.
Yep,
Rockville had a lot of growth this year directly related to
yep.
what we've done with PCI as well. So it's been really exciting. You can see our expenses are, our net is higher than last year, but we do have an outstanding bill with the town of Rockville. We're estimating around $10,000 based on what it was last year, but I
Okay.
do not have that current bill. The increase, I think last year was close to 7,000, but I know we had a lot of electrical changes and a lot of extra work that they had to do for us this year. So our net, we're expecting will at least be $10,000 lower than shown on this list.
Okay,
On the second page, I usually break down what exactly most of the expenses are. And you can see that Ace Party Rental, which is the tents, is the biggest expense at this point in time. And we're spending about $35,000, $36,000 on the tents. And that does include Mecca, Montezuma, and then the toilets for Mecca, Montezuma, Rosedale, and Bloomingdale as
Okay.
well. And Tangier, sorry.
okay.
So, just here to give you that, and in the past, you've given us a little consideration on some funding.
I was just getting ready to ask you on that.
Yeah,
And I know, I do appreciate the fact that you're doing more projects and raising more funds, that's great.
Yes.
Our goal eventually is to not have to give 25,000 to you,
Right.
that you can be self-sustaining and doing it, that's our goal, but we've
Right.
never stood in the way of you getting what you need.
yeah.
Is that $25,000 a need this year?
I believe so. When you look at that number, what we do for the festival is a good 85%, I would say, of our entire yearly budget. We do have 3 staff members total now. We're open 7 days a week at the visitor center. And we just don't net a lot of income otherwise. We have a little bit that comes from the Maple Fair, but we're also investing back in the building. So this year we spent $15,000 on the windows. And there's still more to do with the building itself that we're responsible for
Okay.
through our lease with the town. So when you take an additional 15,000 out of that number, it puts us down to some pretty slim funds to operate for a full year.
Okay, I know that the fees have gone up, and I know you have more of them because you had a good increase in Rockville.
We did have more vendors this year, but our expenses were higher
Okay.
on the tents and things like that.
Okay,
Which isn't going to change, unfortunately. They're going up again next year. And we are almost to the point where we can't expand vendors. I can get a few more in next year
Right.
than we had this year. And we have also tried not to increase our vendor fees since 22, I think it was. Because we want to try to keep it as affordable as we can for our vendors, but we're walking a really fine line on when we're gonna have to do that as well.
What we have done in the past typically is pay specific bills that you get. my recommendation would be, and I can't speak for these guys, but to at least submit bills so we can see what it is we would be paying for, rather than just giving PCI the $25,000.
So we have paid out all of this expense.
Okay.
I can still provide invoices.
Yes.
With amounts.
Yeah. Bruce, you're the paper guy on that stuff. How do we need to show that we are actually not giving a check to PCI, that we are actually paying a cost, but they've already paid them, so how do we show that?
It'd be more considered like a reimbursement
Yes.
of a cost that they incurred.
That's how you did it last year.
Yes, and I might make sure we did it to some specific thing. So they got 35,000 in tents. Can we reimburse 25,000 of the tents, and that would show we're going with the tents?
Yeah, you could just get us copies
The full
of
invoice of the.
the invoices for the tents.
And then we'll make the motion to reimburse the 25,000 of that, and we can take care. If that's okay with
Yeah,
you,
I was
that's all I
saying,
intend to
you'll
do
just
that.
put
Perfectly
reimbursement
fine.
of-
Absolutely.
So just get us that, and the next meeting we ought to be able to approve that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Try not to be so much difficulty all the time. So, can I ask in a public meeting, March?
Yes, March 3rd.
Hey, Maple Fair at that.
Maple Fair, yeah.
Yeah, so there's gonna be,
Stay
we're
on-
looking for volunteers to flip pancakes, that's for sure, because niece and her husband will be there.
You guys stay out of my woods, okay? Don't I don't want a problem out there. All right, okay. Gotcha.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks.
Yep. Sheriff.
We intend on buying a drone early next year.
They got some in New Jersey and
I was gonna say,
Pennsylvania.
New York and New Jersey's got all kinds of them right
Fly over
now.
everybody. The quote is $15,000, and we want to pursue some small grants and
Okay.
around the area, community foundation, RMC, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Go right
So you get
ahead.
permission.
Yep. We just need to know specifically when it comes, what it is, and we'll prove that.
Okay.
Again, I don't ever want to be in a position of telling you guys you can or cannot go pursue grants. Our only concern is we're required by the state to approve each grant, so we know where it's coming from, so we don't have two entities going for the same pot of money.
Do you
That's our only
currently
goal.
have a drone?
What's that?
Do you currently have a
No,
drone?
Belmore just got one, Rockville has one, so it'd be nice to have another one.
Yep. Good.
And Rockville's been good about helping us, just they have some stipulations since they got theirs through. the
Well, I
grant.
think it'd be a wonderful thing, like especially at the park, when somebody's lost to the park or whatever, you can send them up and.
Absolutely.
I know they make them, I don't know what you're looking at, but I know they make them with speakers on them, so they can send messages while they're out as well, if they're looking for someone that.
I think the camera's the most important part.
Oh, absolutely,
The
yeah.
battery life, I think
Yep.
they're making improvements
Well,
on
it's
all
just like
those.
that lady that was lost for, you eventually found her. That drone might have found her earlier, and may not have saved her life, but found her earlier. If, maybe it was flying over the area that she crashed at, but.
Yeah.
I watched one, a fella had, I think he told me it was around $18,000. He was going out, finding deer that people had shot, tracking the deer.
Wow.
And he could go right down on, take a picture with him and you could even tell where it was wounded, if it had an arrow in it, they could go get it and finish it off so it wasn't laying there suffering. And
When RC Engineering came
Several
back,
times.
after we did the second job on the roof, we were having some problems with some issues on the roof, and they have a drone. So instead of having to put scaffolding or ladders or anything to get back up there, they just sent the drone up. And it was pictures on everything like you're looking at right here. I mean, you're just right there looking at all that stuff. Just amazing what
this
they
was,
do.
it's heat seeking too,
Yeah.
so you can tell if you're looking.
That's funny.
They're pretty good at dropping grenades too, turns
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Nice tools to have, for sure.
Okay, you go for it. Let us know what you find out.
Thank you, guys.
Have the way we can. Anybody else have anything for the good of the? Then is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
We'll adjourn.